What? Yeah, what do you want? Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like her opinions and her values. That's actually what a lot of like Zoomer, Vietnamese, communists actually believe in. It's like this warped Americanized, version of communism. It's like, look, and I'm gonna be honest. And I'm gonna say this, man. You shouldn't go in there. You shouldn't be arguing with all these people, man. Like they're all your friends, dude. Bosch, Destiny, Luna. They're all your friends. You have no allies right now. I remember
They're
watching the
not my
John Zerkis
friends.
stream.
How are they my friends?
They believe in the same shit as you.
No, they
Although,
don't. They don't believe in anything I do.
maybe you're a bit more based or whatever, but like at the end of the day, man, it's like I'm waiting for my partner as well to join. But
Yeah, I don't care. So listen,
yeah,
let me
sorry.
ask a question.
Yeah. Look. Oh, yeah, sorry.
So the masses of the American people who don't virtue signal to me and don't use the same terms I use, those are my enemies. But Vaush and them is my friends, right? Just because they
Yeah.
use the same words as I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are pretty much on the same side. It's just you just need
Just
to ease it
because
up
we
a little
use
bit,
some of
man.
the same words, right?
Yeah.
But the real masses of people, the working people, who they call deplorable reactionaries, those are my enemies, right?
Yeah, man. Look, House, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be going around attacking these innocent people, man. It's like, dude, you're calling Luna a fraud, even though
She
you
is a fraud.
yourself, dude,
She is a
she
fraud.
isn't, dude.
Yes, she is.
She's an accurate representation of what sort of the modern day
That's if I
Vietnamese
take your word
communist
for it. I
is.
don't take your word for it.
Why not, dude? It's just how it is over there, man. It's like
How do you
they're
know?
very, hey, I don't know, man. But I'm just saying. I'm
What do
just
you mean you
saying,
don't
like,
know?
I've talked to these people. I've talked to a lot of these Vietnamese communists. People from like
Okay, I
the
don't
well,
believe you.
who aren't officially part of the Vietnamese Communist Party, but like they
I
family
don't
members
believe
and
I don't believe that Vietnamese communists have anything to do with Luna Oy.
they would agree with a lot of what she says, and
I
like
don't agree with that.
right. Well, dude, you're calling her a fraud,
She is a
and look,
fraud.
I'm checking Twitter. She isn't,
Well,
and
she
I'm being
is.
very clear. It's like she isn't.
She is
This
100,000%
victimization
a
that
fraud.
this whole victimization complex that you're accusing her of oh dude she's going in there trying to make
Yeah,
people
she's a
fucking
cry
sad feel
bully.
bad about the Vietnam War and shit like that, shit that happened 40 years ago, right? Like that's pretty much what they're like as well over in Vietnam, and I'm being
Okay,
honest, like they're very much
I
like
don't believe you. How about that? I just don't believe you.
you'll have to talk to some Vietnamese communists, man. It's like
Yeah,
they
I
are like that,
have. I
like
actually
they are
have talked
very
to some. I've gotten DMs by
my debate
I've
partner is in
gotten
show too, by
DMs
the way.
by Vietnamese communists saying thank you, Haas. Thank you so much for what you said.
Well, look, man, you're calling her a fraud, you're calling her all these
She is a
terrible
fraud.
things, man. And you're talking shit about her boyfriend, calling him a sex pat, a sexual a criminal or whatever, right?
Did you
And it's
read
like
the article?
I sort of skimmed through
Yeah,
it.
you didn't read
It
it.
was just
You
you.
didn't fucking
It was
read
just
it.
you,
Okay, go read it again then and see if that's what I said.
dude. Uh, dude, I'm sorry, dude. I'm actually shaking right now. I'm actually very scared right now. But my debate partner is in show queue at the moment, and you know, he
Okay.
has some
So
things.
any last
As a matter
words?
of fact, we're both accusing you of being,
Let's bring the debate partner. What do you want? Hello? His mic is muted. Okay. One moment.
you don't want to acknowledge all the good the West has done for human civilization. Like, that's my main issue with you. You always point to the East as this beacon of civilization when me, as a Taiwanese American, I admit that the West and Europe are superior in many regards, regarding civilization, regarding history, all of that. So, yeah.
Okay, so you have an inferiority complex, and that's my problem?
No. I don't have an inferiority
Yeah, you
complex.
do. Yeah, you fucking
No, I
do.
don't.
Yeah, you
No, wait a minute.
fucking
Wait a minute.
do.
I think you have the inferiority
Really,
complex if you
really.
think about it, because you come from a long line of merchants and great warriors, yet you're throwing it all away for this sort of bullshit created by China and the Soviet Union and this ideology
Why?
that
Wait,
shows
I come from a long
empire.
line of what?
Yeah, the merchants and warriors, the Phoenicians, dude.
So what?
Yeah, so you should like reject this bullshit, and we should like
What
return to
bullshit?
Marxism.
Why? How is it bullshit?
Marxism is bullshit because it's so idealistic. It's founded on the premise that everyone should be equal when in
No, it's
reality
not.
humans. Yes, it is.
Citation?
Citation. All Marxist literature in the
Okay,
freaking
one
19th.
citation.
Okay. When Marx refers to the classes of people, he doesn't specify a singular race or a singular people. He's referring to them as a collective. That's equality.
No, it's not.
Citation?
I don't need a fucking citation.
Okay, dude, but you're rejecting your ancestors for like this theory created by a German guy.
So what?
Yeah, that's my problem with
How am
you.
I
Like,
rejecting my ancestors by doing that? You think my ancestors wanted me to not learn from others
no,
and put
but
it in
at the
my
same
own way
time,
and
they
think
don't
about
want
it
you
on
to
my own
adopt things
terms?
that are in contradiction with their own
What's the
beliefs.
contradiction?
The contradiction is that Marxism is this like forced ideology on so many people, and you just picked it up willy nilly.
That's just not true. I became a Marxist as an extension of coming from a Shia background and being fascinated and immersed in the Shia revolutionary tradition in the Middle
Dude,
East.
I want to convert to Shiism. That's the thing that irks me the most.
Okay.
Because you, in a sense, while yeah, you like pick and choose, you take all the aspects of Shiism, which in a sense mesh well with communism and
Like what?
Marxism. For example, the what's it called? The reverence of authority in Shiism. There's always a higher. It's more hierarchical than Sunnism, for example. Same thing in communism. The government or the state is
You said you're Taiwanese?
yes.
Show me your face.
Why would I do
I'm
that?
not showing it on stream. Show me your face.
I'm
Yeah, I'm not going to
speaking
show it
right
on
now.
stream. Show me your face.
No, I'm not going to do that. No.
Oh, okay. So you're not Taiwanese.
Dude, I am Taiwanese. Why would I lie about that?
Can you speak language?
Like I said, dude, I'm second generation.
So
I
you
was
can't
born in the
speak
West.
anything in Taiwanese.
Why would I want to learn some like Easternized bullshit? I was born in the West.
Okay.
Yeah, that's literally it, dude.
So you worship the West and you think the West is superior to everyone else.
I mean, it's evident. There's
Right.
no.
Why is that?
Well, if we were to look at most major scientific discoveries made in almost every epoch, except for maybe antiquity, we see most of it, even during antiquity, a lot of it comes
That's
from the
just
West.
patently not true. It's
What do you mean
only
that's totally not
recently
true?
that the significant portion of discoveries have been made in the West, and that's a result of Western modernity. But before then, the centers of enlightenment and innovation and discovery were not in Europe.
What do you mean they were not in Europe? Is Greece not in Europe? Is Italy not in Europe?
Even if you include Greece and Italy, when you compare it to the Egyptians, the Persians, the Chinese, when you compare it to even the Central Asian civilization, when you compare it to India, you're talking
Okay,
about nothing.
Okay, but we're not living in antiquity or in the medieval age.
Well,
We're
you're the
living
one
in
who
our
mentioned
world.
every epoch of history, and it's just not true.
No, well, most epochs of
No,
history,
not
most
even most.
eras. What do you mean, not even the most? It's true. There's
No,
citations.
it's not
There's
true.
sources about this.
It's not true.
How is it not true? When like most like medicine, most advancements in
Yeah,
science and
was happening
technology.
outside of Europe.
No, that's not true at all.
Yes,
That's
it's
literally not.
100% true.
Do you have a source for this?
Yes, any history book you can get your
What?
fucking hands on that talks about it will confirm this.
But the history books will, of course. I'm not saying that these advancements and these milestones didn't exist in other countries or other regions of the
Let's just
world.
put it this way. Europe was a backwater peninsula of Asia for most of mankind's history.
That is not true. No,
Yes,
no,
it
no.
is.
That's not true.
Yes, it
I'll tell
is.
you why that's not true. Because first of all, Greece, while it is true, for example, ancient
Greece absorbed
Greece saw itself.
everything from the Persians and the Egyptians and the Indians. So some speculate.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you there. But
Greece was a peninsula of the Persian civilization. Greece was a peripheral state to the Persian civilization where everything was actually going on.
Wait a minute. Greece, yes, saw itself closer to Asia than it did to Europe. You're 100% correctly. You're 100% correct there.
The Greeks thought so-called Europeans were barbarians.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't think they were civilized. They didn't even think they shared humanity with them.
But while Egypt and Persia, and while they did have their sort of revivals under the Islamic era and Islamic ages, Greece sort of improved on the ideas presented to them by Persia and Egypt, which started this sort of Western hegemony, like in terms of science.
What Western hegemony? The West as such did not exist until the creation of the Western Catholic Church. Until the Western Roman Empire, there was no West.
Well, first of all, we have to define what West means.
I'm telling you the origins of the West. The origins of the West is the Western Roman Empire and the Catholic Church. That's the origin of the West.
Okay, that's fair. But at the same time, like I've stated before, we are living in the modern era in which most of what we take for sure, I get it, matrices were invented by the Muslims, but this sort of next step in human evolution was presented to us by the West. By your people, dude.
What?
Look, I consider, and you're gonna freak out, and I get it, you're gonna think I'm trolling, but I'm being 100% serious. I consider Egypt and Persia and the whole Middle East a part of Western civilization. When I say Eastern civilization, I'm referring to like Asia proper, in a sense. China.
Oh, you're just referring to places like China and India, right?
Exactly. Well, yes, I agree. They did have
places that probably
they did.
Places that probably discovered more than Western Asia.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is true.
I mean,
Indian mathematics was among the most in the history of mankind. The Chinese civilization has produced more insight. They don't even know. They haven't even begun to unearth all the things the Chinese have always known and had known in the past.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that India and China didn't discover anything or didn't advance any of the fields that I'm referring to. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that China and India, compared to what the West achieved throughout all of its history,
explaining how
pales in comparison, really. So my question is,
but before you start with your inferiority complex about the West, why don't I just put something into perspective for you? Why don't I just put something into perspective for you? If you want to be very, very generous, Western world hegemony is something that has existed maybe for 300 years. If you want to be very generous. 300 maybe 400 if you want to push it years.
Okay. 300, 400
There
years.
are 10,000 years of recorded human civilization.
But in those 300 to 400 years, in that small amount of time, when regarding greater human achievement, in that small amount of time, we have been.
Sorry, 5,000 years.
Is it 5,000 years?
Yeah, recorded.
5,000 years.
Civilization for 10,000, recorded for 5,000.
Okay, within that recorded civilization, in those 300 to 400 years, we have ushered ourselves into an age previously unseen, and that's thanks to the West.
No, it's not thanks to the West.
It's
It's thanks to the combined civilization of all mankind, and the West was the place that merely reflected upon this. So no, it's not just thanks to the West. The West was a peninsula that reflected upon this in its own way, but ultimately, the modern world, for example, was created in Asia. If it wasn't for the Silk Road, there would be no Renaissance in Italy. There would be no revival and rediscovery of the sciences and of philosophy were it not for the Silk Roads and the trade routes that were opened up by Asiatic empires, where actually the great majority of the wealth of mankind was actually being produced. Europe was peripheral in relation to all of this.
But why, even though they opened up the trade routes, why did you, as you say, these renaissances, these rediscovery of the sciences, these applications?
Because the West was
occur in
based
Europe?
on, because the West was merely based on negation. It took all of the determinate wealth of all civilizations and it reduced it to the bluff of a common negation. It was just a reaction and a response and a negation. It was an abstraction. And the
But at
bluff
the
is
same-
now being called with the rise of China.
This
And the rise
look
of all, and the rise of a new multipolar order in which the older civilizations, from Turkey to Russia to even Latin America now, are beginning to be revived. So the bluff of the West and its challenge for humanity is now being answered.
But don't you think this is due to more demographic shifts than it is to
No, it's
sort
not.
of? Are you sure? I mean, if you think about it on the surface level, the demographic shifts in the West are allowing, because there's no longer that strong European influence that once was in the West. These countries are having it, like they have the ability to rise now because they have outside and inside help. Hence why, like I said, I'm Taiwanese American. I know a lot of Chinese Americans. Many of them, while loyal to the U.S., even though they've never been to China, they still have a sort of connection there and are willing to help them out, even if they've never been there. It's this sort of demographic shift that aids these countries in their quote unquote revival, their quote unquote growth today.
That's just a cope.
What do you mean it's just a cope?
You're just coping.
No, it's not a cope.
Yeah, it is.
Haas, please. Okay, but like seriously though, these countries are going to get better for sure, but we have to give the West credit where credit's due.
So I never, when have I said the West never contributed anything to humanity?
No, you basically said, no, you haven't said that, but you basically said that the West was not really the determining contributor.
No, it's not.
I no, that's where I disagree though. I think it is. I think for example, I come from Taiwan, and while you call it an inferiority complex, this is how the majority of Taiwanese people think. Like they think like me.
If they think that, then the majority of them do have an inferiority complex. I just doubt the majority do think like that.
No, it's true. Ask any Taiwanese person what they
Holy
think about
fuck,
the West.
Populous, thank you so much.
$150.
What
Populous.
happened?
Holy fuck, Populous, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you a lot. Jesus.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, a lot of them do think like me. They have the same belief system that like Taiwan. Because look, if it weren't for the West, Taiwan wouldn't exist. We need them. We need to keep Taiwan stable, and it's because of the United States.
If you're actually Taiwanese, which I highly doubt, you coming on my show and making a fool of yourself and just shaming yourself.
What do you mean shaming myself? What if I said that was shameful?
Yeah.
Listen, didn't you call yourself a patriot earlier when you were arguing with that little kid?
What?
Didn't you call yourself a patriot when you were arguing with that little kid?
Based.
You said you were a patriot. You said you liked this country. You even framed it within Islam. You said we don't bite the hand that feeds you, correct?
Hold on, I'm reading a tweet. What are you saying?
No, I said you called yourself a patriot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You called yourself a patriot. So, as a patriot, while you can disagree with the United States in certain aspects, you have to admit the United States upholding the sanctity of Taiwan is a good thing because they're basically, in a sense, keeping people safe. Because if China got their hands on Taiwan, we'd be fucked, dude.
So I'm a patriot and I believe in this country and its people. Why the fuck is my country halfway around the fucking world?
No, but do you
in a province of China? Tell me why my country should be halfway across the fucking world instead of focusing on ourselves.
First of all, it's not a province of China. Second of all,
yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's an independent free state.
So what duty does my country have to occupy some place halfway across the world?
Is that dude? The United States doesn't occupy Taiwan.
Okay.
It keeps it safe.
So why are we there? Why are we there? Tell me why we're there.
We're there because listen, most
why are we there? Just answer.
Most Taiwanese people don't want Chinese influence.
That's not our problem. That's not our. Even if that was true, it's not our problem.
Okay, it might not be. It might not.
If they listen, we have our own country. Taiwan is not a state of this country. If what the majority of Chinese people think, that has nothing to do with us.
Okay, it might not be the United States' problem, but you have to understand that the United States is a geopolitical actor. If someone beckons for the United States,
why do we have to be there? Why do we have to be there?
Because Taiwan asked them to be there. It's not a question.
So what?
What do you mean? So what? It's geopolitical.
So what? Taiwan asked us to be there, even if that's true, which it's not. Why are we there? And by the way, Taiwan didn't ask us to fucking be there. The Taiwanese people never wanted to be independent from China.
That's bullshit, dude.
No, they didn't. The U.S. pressure is what tried to pressure and snake the KMT with this separatist bullshit. The KMT didn't want separatism.
The KMT the KMT didn't want separatism because they were the rightful freaking government of China.
So let them continue to believe that, but they don't want to be separatists.
No, they didn't want to be separatists because they perceived themselves to be the original government.
The KMT was founded by Sun Yat-sen.
Yeah, I'm aware.
The name of the party which inherits the name of Sun Yat-sen will never ever allow China to be broken into pieces. They will never allow for China to be broken into two pieces.
Yeah, look, dude, that's because Taiwan is the real China.
Then let them think that. Let them make their case to the Chinese people. Then let them make their case. It's a matter internal to the Chinese people. And no one else.
Do you think the CCP will actually listen to that case?
The majority of the Chinese people are with the Communist Party.
Yeah, just like how the majority of the Taiwanese people are with the United States.
Okay, well guess what? Taiwan is not part of China, now is it? I mean, no, Taiwan is not part of the United States, now is it?
Taiwan is an independent actor that acts for the United States.
It's not relevant if the majority of them want us there, even if they did. It's not relevant.
Yeah, it is relevant.
No, it's not.
China China is an imperialist, expansionist actor. That's all it is.
China's imperialist and expansionist because
Yes.
it lays claim to a part of China that's always been a part of China for hundreds and hundreds of years. But the US isn't expansionistic because it's halfway across the fucking world, meddling in people's affairs over business that is of no concern to America or its people, right?
I'm talking about Taiwan. You're talking in general. In the case of Taiwan, I'm saying that Taiwan wants the United States to be there.
I don't care. Who cares?
Well, the Taiwanese people care.
Who cares? We're not their government.
Okay, they're not. Okay, I get it.
We are not their government. They don't vote. They're not citizens, and they don't pay taxes.
You can make the same case for many different countries.
Yeah, I am making the case for
collaborated
all
with
other countries.
who collaborated with the Nazis. So, for example, do you want Japan to have a military, like able to wage war again? Do you want that?
That is of no concern to me.
That's of no concern to you.
If Japan tries to reignite its former aggression against Asian countries, that will be for Japan to have to deal with. And let me tell you, the prospects don't look bright. But something tells me the Japanese people don't want that.
Let me ask you one question, Haz, and then I'll fuck off from your chat, okay? One question. If China wasn't communist, would you still have these takes?
Yes. If China was ruled by a Confucian theocracy, it would be the same thing.
Fascist Nazbol, like fucking racist. You know Chinese people are racist as hell, right? You know
I don't care. And I doubt that. They're not racist. They're just honest.
Are you kidding me? Wait,
they're not. They're just honest. They're wary of foreigners in general. They're not racist.
No. If that were the case, then white monkey jobs wouldn't exist in China, and blacks wouldn't be discriminated the way they were there.
Everyone who's a foreigner is going to receive discrimination in China.
Well, whites seem to do pretty well for themselves. There's a couple of white people in China.
No, that's no longer really the case, actually.
What do you mean by that?
They're no longer getting special treatment. The culture's changed.
That's not, dude. Come on, Haz, come on.
Look it up.
White monkey jobs still exist in China today. There's no. This is
not as much as before. They don't get special treatment anymore. That's why so many of them are vlogging and leaving and being butthurt about it, because they're not seen as exotic or interesting at all anymore.
Haz, I've been to a McDonald's. Look, I'm going to tell you something. I normally don't. This is a true story. You're going to think it's bullshit, but this is 100% true. I went to Beijing. Was it 3 or 4 years ago? And I went to a McDonald's. And there was a black guy in there who worked as a cashier. He spoke fluent Mandarin. His Mandarin was excellent. But when a Chinese there was this one Chinese old lady, she didn't see him. Her back was turned to him. And she turned around and she was like, "Ay-ya!" And then she ran away at the mere sight of a black guy.
That's not because Chinese people are racist. It's because they're not used to seeing people who look different. Probably. She wasn't used to seeing someone who looks different. She was an old woman who lived in China without seeing people who looked very different from she did. And there's nothing, it's not inherently racist. It's just, she was probably shocked that someone looked different. If that's true, it's assuming what you're saying is true.
It is true.
That's not racist. Racism, for example, is dehumanization. Racism, for example, is having a country with a history of slavery and actual racial discrimination against black people and treating them as second-class citizens because you're saying you're superior and they're inferior. People being surprised or fascinated or even afraid of foreigners because they're just not used to seeing them is not inherently racist.
Firstly, how is China supposed to take black slaves from Africa, considering their geographical position? Second of all, there were people literally avoiding his, cashier, whatever, cash register thing, whatever you want to call it, because he was black. This happens.
If what you're saying is true, which I doubt, China is a humanistic civilization, and I'm sure China has an internal dialogue about the widespread conceptions and treatments of foreigners to the extent that it becomes an issue. But as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing inherently racist about China's treatment of foreigners.
There's nothing inherently racist.
No, there
You're
isn't.
implying that Chinese people. I don't like. You're not really implying it. I'm sorry. I don't want to accuse you of anything. I look up to you, by the way. Can I just get that out of the way? I look up to you. I don't want to say you're implying this, but you're implying that Chinese people don't really have access to the. I mean, they don't have access to the internet if you think about it. But
Chinese civilization has had no history of colonizing random foreign countries, so they don't have a phenomena of mass immigration where they're going to be exposed to different cultures and different peoples on a day-to-day basis.
First of all, China. When you think in your head, when you think of China, that is comprised of different ethnic groups. That entire land.
Yeah, and that's why, as far as the ethnic groups that are indigenous to China, people have come to an understanding to be able to deal with each other and interact with each other. But as far as complete foreigners are concerned, it can be intimidating for some, especially older and rural Chinese people who don't know how to interact with them. They just don't. They just, they're just different people. They look different, I mean, and they don't know, it's just different. It's different to them. There's nothing racist about that.
But they didn't come to an understanding. There's still ethnic conflict in China today. It's not as reported on, so you probably don't know.
But they've more or less come to an understanding. However, whatever extent of ethnic conflict exists within China, it's nowhere like the US.
China is a country. Yeah, okay. Wait a minute. Well, look, did I hear what you just said correctly?
It's nowhere like the US.
Haas, they're not putting people in the US here in camps. They're not doing that.
They're not doing that in China either.
Huh?
The AP Press just released an article saying, I guess they're not doing it anymore.
First of all, look who the AP Press is owned by, and then come back and tell me why you think they said that.
Who's it owned by?
The Jews.
Hold on. I'm trying to ban this guy. Looks like that's another VOD I gotta fucking... Hold on. 1 sec.